Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Mentalverse. Today's topic is motivation. But first, intros. Nadim, of course, and my amiga herself, Christina. And now for the Spanish version. Christina, take it away, please.
Ok, muy buenas chicos y chicas. Volvemos con un nuevo episodio, ¿vale? Esta vez es el número 5 y hablaremos un poco sobre el tema de la motivación y por supuesto lo relacionaremos con el sector de los esports. Así que si estás interesado, te vayas y quédate porque comenzamos.
And now for the intro to motivation. Christina, would you like to do the honors, please?
Okay, so when we talk about motivation, we could say that many psychologists have been very interested in the study of this topic because it is a principle of the behavior of the human beings. So it's like we always move because we feel motivated about to do something. No?
Mhm.
So if we have an objective, we just try to achieve that objective and we do it because we feel motivated. Okay. So Nadine, if you want to.
Yes, this is the thing about motivation. It's been used in the human history throughout the ages in everything, whether it is for the basic things like hunting or gathering, or stuff like sports. Motivation is an incentive for us to push forward. Things like combat. Imagine a general standing in front of his army and shouting a speech or doing this battle cry. That in itself is a motivation for his troops to fight harder. And that proves that motivation is a very critical tool to be used for just about anything we do in our daily life. Even for the smallest of things, the moment we have that thing in our heads, we can push forward and, achieve what we assumed could not be achieved.
Also, we could say that there are some theories that speak about the human motivation, right?
Mhm.
The first one we have the Maslow pyramid, the McClellan three factor, or even the Herzberg dual factor theory. But I think we could say that the Maslow pyramid is like the first one. I think is the base, no, of this type of theory
Yeah, the
about
father of all
motivation.
theories in the motivation
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah. So we could say if we just focus on the Maslow pyramid, we could say that it's a part of a psychological theory related to the motivation and needs of the human being.
Mhm.
And according with this psychologist, we could say that our actions are born from the motivation, which are directed towards the objectives. No, it's
Yes,
like we just have an objective. So if we want to achieve it, we need to feel motivated. No?
absolutely.
So this feeling is created by the motivation.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
think
it does sound
is the
interesting.
base.
Yeah, it does sound interesting when you think about it. Like, how can I achieve a goal without being pushed to that goal? And that's where motivation kicks in.
Mhm. Exactly. So we could say that this theory is like the base of the rest of the theories. So that's why we just focus a bit on this one.
Mhm.
And it's represented in a pyramid, no? Because as we have said, no, we have an objective, we have to know how to achieve it. And then when we know it, then we start to work on it.
Mhm.
So just like the motivation is like changing, no, the
It's
whole
yeah,
time.
a step by step pyramid form.
Yeah, exactly. And the question that we could do now is like, what is motivation? No? And we could say that motivation is defined as an attitude continue over the time, no?
Mhm.
Just to try to satisfy our needs or maybe to achieve an objective. It's the whole time the same.
Mhm.
So also the process is like we force ourselves, no,
Yeah,
to
we
to
push
achieve
ourselves
something.
forward. Yes, sometimes we need that
Exactly.
incentive to achieve. Sometimes it's like when we stand still and we wait, it doesn't help us achieve our goals. That's where motivation helps because it pushes us
Hmm.
above and beyond what we expect, and that will actually help us achieve the goal that we didn't expect to achieve. And that's
Yeah.
what motivation helps us in all this aspect of.
And even if our goal or
Mhm.
our objectives is difficult, we even feel motivated to.
Yeah. There
motivation.
is no
So
limit. There is no
yeah,
such thing as
exactly.
impossible in the eyes of motivation.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, as we feel very interested about this topic, we just propose different types of motivation, and we're going to try to relate with the esports sector because, as you know, this series is always related about this sector. And I think we could start with the first one, Nadim.
The
The
internal,
first, yes,
we,
extrinsic. We
it's,
could
it's
say extrinsic
well, yeah,
motivation.
well, it could be said like it's an internal versus the external aspect.
Mm-hmm,
when we
exactly.
when we say it's an internal, it's by the self. Imagine you're playing a game and you're losing, so you try to say I can do it, I will do it, and I'm able to do it. Little by little,
Mm-hmm.
that thought process actually helps the person achieves their goals. Like for instance, you want to rank up. How can you rank up when you're not motivated? There's no way, because when you're playing a game, you're demoralized. Achievement zero. But when you're playing a game and you say I can do it and I will do it, no matter how many setbacks, that positive mindset helps pushes you forward. Now the external aspect, however, comes from external sources, be it from the coaches, be it from other teammates, our friends, our families, our teachers, anyone. That's the beauty.
Exactly.
This is the thing about the external aspect, however, it's dependent. Unlike the internal aspect, which is self dependent, the external is more outside dependent. So you rely on others to help you achieve your goal. Now, this could be considered a positive in a sense, but also a negative because it's dependency.
Yes. And
So,
that's where we just try to talk about the positive motivation and the negative motivation.
yes,
Right, Nadim?
absolutely.
Okay, okay. Okay, okay. So yeah, the positive motivation probably will be always internal,
Mhm.
okay? But if we have the support of external people, also we could feel very positive, no? Like we are going to achieve our goal, no?
Mhm.
But maybe this kind of external support could be also negative,
Yes.
okay? Because you feel under pressure always. So maybe if you don't get the result that you expect, maybe you can feel frustrated,
Mhm.
okay, because you fail. But maybe people around you can also humiliate you, no,
Yes.
or give you a punishment.
Yes.
So yeah, we need to have to keep in mind, sorry, this kind of motivation because it could be good, but also could be bad
Yes.
for you.
This is the thing about the external aspects. You're dependent, and as you're
Yeah.
dependent, you're susceptible to the other people's mindsets, behaviors, and ideologies. One
Mm.
such example, and this is actually from a movie called Whiplash. A music teacher uses an aggressive method of motivation, which is verbal and physical abuse, in order to bring out something called the excellence in his students. Now, in his belief, if I don't treat them that way, they won't feel the pressure and they won't overcome the difficulties. Now, this is the person trying to justify his behavior towards the students. On one hand, this brings out an excellence factor in the student, but on the other hand, the student becomes overwhelmed by depression, anxiety, and stress, and on very critical and harsh situations, suicide. So instead of motivating the person to achieve something, you're motivating them, but at a risk, at the cost of the self, which is high risk, high reward kind of thing. So some people tend to justify it. Some people tend to say, no, this is not the tool to motivate, and this is not going to bring out the excellence in people.
Okay, now we have investigate a bit, and we saw that the literature specialized on sports psychology also found another types of motivation related with the physical activity and sports, but also could be related with the esports sector. This kind of motivation are called the basic motivation and the daily motivation. Okay? The basic motivation we could say that refers when an athlete is interested on the sport results or maybe on their personal performance or maybe about the positive consequence, no, about their process, no. And the daily motivation we could say is like when the athlete in this case or maybe the gamer, no, keep interested about the activity that they are doing. It's like they feel like motivated. But in the daily motivation, there are another two. type of motivation. That the first one is called the ego-centered motivational orientation, and the other is the task-centered motivational orientation. Can you say me the difference between them?
The thing about it, the thing you could look at it from a perspective of positive versus negative. The ego centers, despite you trying to push yourself to compare yourself to others, this is exactly where the ego kicks in. When you say, for example, you versus someone who's exceptionally high. Now, this is risky. This is, in a sense, motivates you to try to become great to that level, but at a risk of failure. Because when somebody is unable to reach that level, they're deteriorated themselves. They feel the failure on their shoulders, which is an exceptional high risk. Too dangerous to take this side because people cannot be compared on that level. They have to realize that each person is unique, and therefore the type of effort and the type of push they can give is unique in that sense. This is why the task center motivation is far better, because that way you can take the push, this challenges you as a person can achieve, and that way you can overcome them based on you, not based on your comparison to someone who's great. For instance, let's say an actor. Can you compare yourself to actors like, let's say, John Cusack? I mean, I can't act the way he does. He's unique. And I'm unique in a different sense. So how I act is not the same as how he acts. So I can say, I can
Exactly.
try to improve myself in an acting sense. I can try to overcome different techniques, different styles. That's the best strategy in order to motivate yourself to achieve these goals, in my
Yeah.
opinion, of course.
Yes, exactly. We could say that the task center motivational orientation is better than the ego center
Yes, it's a
because
more
it's
positive,
like
yes.
we feel motivated to improve oneself
Mhm.
and to improve our personal brand, which is something very important in the esports sector.
Of course.
You have to improve your brand, no,
And you're not
your
pressuring yourself,
personality.
and you're not
Yeah,
putting yourself at the risk of
exactly,
comparison, which is a safe bet.
exactly, exactly. Okay, so this was different types of motivation, no?
Mhm.
But also we will start to speak a bit about the strategies and psychological keys to motivate ourselves. Okay, so Nadine, if you want to start first.
Well, the strategies this comes to how the approach a person takes. Now, for instance, the positive mentality. You can't be motivated if you're negative. You have to be, positive, say you can do it, and accept failure. You can't just let a single failure get in your way. So you have to say, okay, it happens, it's normal, but I'm going to keep doing it. This is why the positive mentality and positive thinking is the key element to motivation. So as not to hinder yourself, one step at another. Of course, there's also the idea of keeping your daily progress. Some people have a strategy of how to motivate yourself is to see what you've done yesterday, what you've done today, and what can you do tomorrow. So you can measure
Yes,
the level of improvements you're doing. And in case you're not improving, you would say, okay, what am I doing wrong? I'm going to improve this and that, and then I'm going to push myself even forward to see if this technique works. And that, in a
yes,
sense, motivates you forward.
yes, and this is something that we use a lot in the esports
Mm-hmm.
sector. For
Yes,
the players, we just try to keep a personal diary and to try to write their fails, know where they do bad and how they can change it. No,
they
so yeah, this is
exactly.
something.
Yep, they measure
This
the
is
mistakes. They seem okay. I
yeah,
in this match
exactly.
I did this and that, and even certain negative emotions like the one we spoke about before, the emotional
Yeah,
intelligence and the tilting and anger.
exactly.
Sometimes, if the player notices these things and writes them down, okay, I did this and that. Okay, I'm going to not do them next time. I'm gonna push myself forward and to avoid
Yes.
repeating the same mistakes. Uh,
Yes, it is important just to add the mistake playing, but also the mistake about how we react. No,
of course,
so
accepting
yes,
the mistake itself is an achievement, so
yeah,
that is a
exactly.
success. Of course,
Okay, you can
there's the idea of imagining achieving your goal daily. Now, I'm against that idea because there's no such thing as achieving your goal. You could imagine, but the reality
mm,
is goals cannot be achieved daily. There is always a chance of failure. And
mhm.
if people always succeed, then the first time they're going to fail, it's going to be a disaster. And it's going to be difficult to motivate them. So try to be motivated to accept both sides of success and failure. Accept
Yeah,
the fact that your goals cannot be always achieved. Some goals cannot be achieved. It's only reality. But to motivate yourself to try,
yes,
the step of effort is in itself a
exactly,
success. And
exactly.
and that's
Well, I could. I could give a personal example, no?
Go for it.
I'm just a director of a sport club, no?
Mhm.
And here in Spain, it's very difficult to get a place in the professional area. So I'm in the amateur right now, but I just keep feeling motivated because I know that one day I could be in the professional area. So I just try to feel motivated every day,
Mhm.
trying to achieve this goal. So this is something that is important to do it. Maybe you cannot get it in 1 year or in 2 years, no? But who knows? Maybe in a future, no? But
Absolutely.
this is something that I do every day because if you start to think like, no, I feel tired, I'm not gonna get my objective. If you start like this, it's possible that you don't get anything. But
Absolutely.
you need to be motivated the whole time. That's why every day I just think, okay, this is gonna be in a future. I'm going to keep working, and then let's see what happens.
Well, as there was a saying, believe to achieve. If you don't
Yeah,
believe, you can't achieve. It's
exactly.
so simple. It's like this. If you don't believe what you're doing, there's no way you're going to succeed. It's just that
Yeah,
simple. Now, here's something interesting. You can fail 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. There's no limit to how much a person can fail. I mean, there was this story about Thomas Edison failing about 1,000 times, and 1,001 he managed to figure out the light bulb. Now, of course, this is a story being told, but the idea of it, the story behind it, it took him 1,001 attempt to figure out the solution. So accept the failure of it. You're going to fail probably 7 times in a row. Let me give you an example about the gaming industry. Let's say you're playing a ranked game, and of course you want to rank up. Of course, you get a game with trolls, you get another game with smurfs, you get another game with ragers. You shouldn't say, okay, there's no way of improvement, there's no way of success. Don't say it. Okay, these events happen, failure will happen. Just take a moment, rebalance yourself and say, okay, I'm gonna try again, and this time I'm gonna try harder. And if it fails, so be it. I'm gonna keep trying harder the next time. It's like if you fall, keep standing up.
yes.
Now,
The
the,
next one we could say about the healthy competition, no? Among friends is a great source of motivation.
yep, it's all
Well,
yours.
maybe with friends or maybe with another players, no? It's like to be close to a healthy competition is like to be surrounded with good people, no? That people that is not toxic. We have been talking about this in the last episode, no? Maybe in the competition area, it is important that the players have a good attitude, no, a good personality. Because if they are a bit toxic, maybe the competition won't be healthy. What we have said.
Obviously, yes. I mean, imagine if you're playing with a friend and they're busy shouting at you. It's like, dude, I'm not gonna play with you. Leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it is very important to keep a healthy environment, no, or atmosphere.
It keeps it entertained. I mean, when we're playing games with a bunch of friends, we're having fun, we're laughing.
Yeah.
And this is what the clubs are usually doing, trying to create a bonding system with these players so that they can become friends with each other. So when they're training with an entertainment sense, with a joyful sense and happiness. They're not
Yes.
training out of obligation. They're enjoying it. So they're gaining something, and at the same time, they're having fun. And that's what
Mhm.
esports is all about.
Exactly. Exactly. Also, there is another that is prepare your mind for the down times. We have been talking about this also in the other episodes, no? It's need to have a strong mental, no? Because if you are the whole time like down or feeling bad, it's probably that you never get or achieve your goals,
Absolutely.
right?
It's a more like a self psychological preparation. It's like you have to be
Yes,
mentally prepared for anything. As they say, expect the unexpected. If you believe you're not going to fail, you're deceiving yourself. So in your
exactly.
mind, you have to say, there's anything is possible. I'm going to be ready. If I fail, I fail. If I succeed, I'm happy about it. I'm going to keep trying. And this is how you keep your mind in check so you don't become hindered by a depressive state or an anxiety state or a sadness state. So you can keep pushing forward no matter what.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, the next one we could say about to make a list about all reasons to stay motivated, no? This is something that also do everyone, no? Even in the esports sector, you have to do a list about why I'm doing this, no? What are my objectives, how I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to feel motivated about to do it, right?
It comes down to individual preference, you see. I mean,
Yes.
as bizarre as it may be, some people are motivated by the most bizarre stuff. I had a friend who was literally motivated by eating a cookie. That's how weird it is. He's literally motivated, but the moment he grabs a cookie and he eats it, you look at him and you say, hey, from his eyes, you can tell he's a completely different person. He's like, okay, now I'm gonna do it. And it's
Yes.
terrifying, but as long as it motivates the person with the most unique ways, hey, what makes you happy, go for it.
Yeah, and even there are people that say, okay, in my schedule, I'm going to do in the morning, I'm going to do this, and 1 hour later, I will do another activity different than the previous one, and then they feel motivated because they are changing their schedule the whole time, and they are doing different types of activities, and they always feel like motivated, no, like
Not demoralized, yes, there's no
yeah,
hindrance.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, I think it's important to work on this. Okay, can you tell us another type?
Now, this is actually an external sense to have a good counselor, someone who's an external, a guide, basically, like a mentor or a teacher, someone who's willing to help you see things from a different perspective. Sometimes we as people might not see something right. We need an external source, a person, be it a friend, a family, a teacher, a best friend, a roommate.
Yes.
A person who has a different sense can tell us, okay, look at it from that way and try following that path. He was like, okay, that makes sense. I'm gonna try it. And you realize they're right. Now you feel the push from them. That speech given from that external source could actually push us forward. So having a
Mm,
good source, a good person guiding us is a lot of help.
yes. Even in the esports sector, no, we
Absolutely.
have the different staff. We have also the psychologists. We have also the coach, and that is something that they will help them, not to the players, no.
Yep, the life,
So
especially
it's
the life
very
coach. Yeah, those life
yes,
coaches have experience in life. They can see perspective differently and they can guide us. So those things can
yes.
actually be a good form of motivation, a good counselor.
Mm, yes. Okay, the next one will be the discover your true passion, no. This is very important, no. If you don't feel passionate about something, you're not gonna do it, no? So in this case, people that is inside the esport, they know what they are going to do, no. If they wanna be a hoster, caster, player, coach, analyst, whatever you want, no. If you feel passionate about this, just do it, just try to do it,
You will
and you will
succeed
feel,
automatically. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, you will feel motivated the whole time.
I mean,
So
nobody wants to do now. We speak about it with a lot of people. Like when somebody does a work they don't like, the result or the flavor of the result feels missing. But
yeah,
this is the beauty. And when somebody does something they love, they don't need anything. They do it automatically. They don't need this whole inspiration speech or this, I want to stand in front of a mirror to push myself. You're like, I love to do this stuff. I don't need someone telling me to do it. I can do it by myself. And you feel the
yeah,
push automatically without even a split second. You just do it
yeah,
because you enjoy it.
exactly, exactly. And the last one, talk about again, inspired by the little things of everyday life. No,
Yep.
this is the king about to motivate yourself the whole time. It's very important to have different type of motivation, to find different ways to feel motivated. So of course, it's necessary to keep every day,
Yep.
and also to take ideas, and like I felt inspired by this person. Okay, I will try to follow their steps, and then I will know if I will achieve my objective or not.
But this is like I said before, the individual differences and what
Yeah.
motivates us can be different. Some people, if they just pet a cat, they'll be motivated because they feel self comfort. Or doing a good deed, helping someone could inspire something within you that gives you this sense
Mm,
of being motivated the entire day. Or, I don't know, painting. I mean, the basic stuff of painting or doing sports like jogging or going to the gym. There is no limit to what a person can be motivated, but it's different from one person to other. There's no limit. Some people can do yoga and feel refreshed and inspired, and that, in a sense, motivate them to do things they weren't comfortable doing. That's the beauty
yes.
of it. The uniqueness of individuality and the uniqueness of the amount of things they can do.
Yes. Well, these were some of the examples that we add, no, in this lead in this episode, no. even in the article. No, we could have another kind of strategies or maybe ideas, but I think with this one are enough,
Mhm.
right? So now we could just move to the conclusion. No, now we could say that players, coaches, and even the staff need to work on themselves, even on their emotion, and even also on their motivation, just to achieve their own goals, right? So it
Absolutely.
is very important. So it's very important to work about this.
Yeah, and never take lightly the power of motivation. Never assume it's not important. It is important, and it could be a critical role for any situation, whether it is in esports or outside. And this is something very important. Rely on yourself to be motivated, but do not turn a blind eye from an external source. Accept it. Sometimes an external source could be far more powerful than the internal source. So never limit your options to be motivated. Accept being relying on yourself to be motivated, and measure what the kind of motivation you need from the outside world, and accept it. Don't just say, I can do it by myself, I don't need help. Nope.
No,
Sometimes accept from the outside, take it as it is, and be pushed to limits, and never take motivation lightly.
yes, exactly. And also we could say that we don't need to compare to others. We
Absolutely.
just need to we just need to like feel inspired
Mhm.
by another person, but then we just need to follow our objectives by or oneself.
Mhm.
Okay, just be like unique, as we have said before. We
Compare
need to
you to
be
you.
unique.
Yeah, compare yourself yesterday to the you today to the you tomorrow.
Yes, as just said, we can feel inspired with another person, but we need to be unique. No, we need to have our own personality.
Yes.
We don't need to copy another person.
Yep. Do not mimic what inspires another person. Just find
Yeah,
out what inspires you and follow up with it.
exactly. So then this will be the end of this episode. So Nadine, if you want to add something to finish.
Well, I have to say this as a conclusion. I hope you guys had a very fun thing watching this episode. Until another episode, which is episode 6, we're not going to tell you the details, but stay tuned for future reference.
Okay, so see you guys. I hope you enjoy this episode.
Till we meet again later.